Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today on another episode of the Vinyl Pulse Webcam interview series. Today I'm pretty excited to have Kirwan from Brooklyn. He's in a temporary studio. He's going to be talking to us today. Hey, how's it going, man?
It's great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So I wanted we could start briefly before we launch into the toys and do some awesome show and tell and stuff like that. I wanted to talk to you about kind of your background, how you got started doing toys. Have you been doing art beforehand? What do you do do you do art full time now? Have you always done it full time, that kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah, so I moved to New York with the idea of being like an artist, like an artist, and worked around the fine art world and galleries and stuff for a number of years, and just really wasn't fulfilled by it, like sort of hated it, and I sort of stumbled into designer toys, and that sort of reignited this like sort of love of like storytelling and getting back to sort of like not thinking I had to be like highbrow, all into the fine art world, and things had to have these world changing meanings. So I sort of got back into comics and got back to like my roots, like what I really loved about art, and designer toys were just a sort of a push back in that direction when I saw like what people were doing and how sort of the scene was changing, the art scene was changing away from fine art.
Okay. Is that is the sort of the fine art, highbrow sort of concept aspect of it? Is that what you didn't really enjoy about the previous?
Yeah. Well, it was all like a scene. It was just like who you knew, and it wasn't about like the quality of the art, and it was just like who's selling for what and what gallery is putting this person in there, and like the work was secondary to everything else.
So it
and
kind of felt like a rat race, sort of a little bit.
Yeah, it really was. And I was working. I remember particularly I was working at this. I was interning at this one gallery, and this guy showed a bunch of work, and I didn't hate it, and I started talking about his influences. And I was like, hey, this, reminds me a lot of Basquiat. And he was like, who's that? I've never heard of him. And I was like, bullshit, man, you've never heard of Basquiat. You've got crowns and, like, you're referencing jazz musicians and stuff in your work. And I'm like, no way. And he was just so scared of, like, not being the most creative person in the room, or, like, people looking at his work and sort of seeing that there wasn't a lot there.
Right.
That it was a huge turnoff, and there are so many stories like that.
Okay.
And then getting into sort of getting back into just doing art that makes me happy. I really found in like designer toys like just this welcoming, inviting scene where people were just like, oh, I'll tell you everything I know. Like, you want to learn how to do this? Sit down. I've got hours. Let's do this.
Right.
And that was such a night and day difference from highbrow art world stuff to what I'm doing now. But I was bartending and stuff in the meantime. And it took a long time to sort of make the decision to give this the toy and the story stuff my full attention.
Okay.
So
well, we're glad you did, right?
I hope so. I'm happy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you do toys? You're doing the toys full time
now? Yeah. I mean, I do so everything is part of the Mudcat Chronicles. Everything's part of that world. Okay. And then the end goal, something I'm trying to build towards, is like an animation or a story, getting the actual story out there. Okay. So the toys are part of that. So I do a lot of stuff that all coincides with building up that world, that brand, and getting stuff out there. And the toys are the main part of that right now. I mean, they pay most of the bills. So
excellent.
So that they are my big focus. And they're most fun right now too.
All right. Okay. So your first sort of large scale figure was Willow. I think that's the one that most people are most familiar with you for. So your signature character to this point.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that and maybe show us one or two of those while you're doing
Yeah. I'm going to move.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hopefully the camera doesn't do anything again. So this is probably better to do it this way.
Yeah, that works.
So this is the first colorway. This was the original colorway was pink, based off of a painting that I did. Um, and this was the original figure that launched on Kickstarter.
Okay.
And the first part of, or not the first part, the goal of that Kickstarter was actually get it produced, to get a company to make them. And right after the Kickstarter got funded, the company backed out.
Oh. Okay.
Well, they didn't back out so much as there was just like a misunderstanding. Some stuff was going on. I mean, I didn't have a lot of experience, so there's a lot of things could have happened. But instead of canceling the Kickstarter and doing anything, I was like, well, I can figure out how to do this. I can figure out how to do these large scale rotocast pieces. So I did, and then I started making the Willows. So they sort of they were my first like specific figure that could have colorways, that it didn't have. The backstory with them was specifically made so that there could be variations on them.
Okay.
And because I knew I wanted to do more of a designer toy-ish sort of figure in that regard.
Right. What is sort of the backstory of Willow? What kind of creature is he?
I mean, they're just sort of like the best way I say it is they're just sort of like cows. They just roam around like the wilderness in the world of Dor, which is the Mudcat Chronicles world, and they're herbivores. They're not really dangerous as much as you don't piss them off or anything. But they're spread throughout all of the lands, and so in various various locales you get like significantly different colors of them.
Okay,
and
right.
The lore around it is that within that world, like the people, the locals have different sort of beliefs about them a little bit in different ways. Like some are good luck charms, some sort of are more ominous, and they branch out from there. They go all kinds of different ways. The designer con Willow, this one. I made a Lucky Cat colorway, basically.
Right.
This one sort of opened up the doors to sort of having a bit of fun with it.
Okay.
Like there's not a lot of ways I can sort of justify having a Lucky Cat colorway in a fantasy world setting. So
right.
I just sort of eased up on the restrictions a little bit. Like,
right.
All right, like we're gonna have some fun, and that sort of knocked some doors down for like I have a glow in the dark series I want to do, and those are sort of in world, a little bit not, but it opened up the supernatural colorways we call them, so things that don't really make sense in the canon of the world.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So just sticking with that sort of the world concept and the story and where he fits in a little bit. So. Are they domesticated at all? Are they pretty much wild?
It goes back and forth. They some of them are a little bit more domesticated. I did a Halloween themed one, and that one is they're kept in like pens in one of the main cities as a ward to ward off evil spirits and stuff.
Thanks for telling us about Willow and where they fit into the world. They're not demons; they're actually sort of like relatively peaceful cow-like creatures. So that's good to know. Can you show us? I know you've done a lot of different editions. Can you show us some of those?
Yeah. I think I've probably done like eight different colorways. I think now that have been released in as editions, not just one thing. So I don't have all of them. I only have I usually sell everything I make. So I have a few, but I kept some of my favorites.
Perfect.
I kept one of the Kickstarter exclusives. This is the only way you could ever get this one, was specifically through Kickstarter.
Teasing us.
Yeah, I know. You'd have to come find me and pry it out of my cold dead hands.
Right.
But this is the Ivory edition.
Okay.
And actually, Ivory the Ivory trade within the story of the Mudcat Chronicles is a pretty big deal. So it's not just to look good, even though it does look good.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I have the Martian Toys exclusive,
Right.
which was we called it the Holly Jolly Willow.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of a Christmas feel, but not so much that it can only come out at Christmas or anything. That one I really really liked. My aunt made me save her one of those. She has it up at her house.
And you still have some of those available, right, at Martian Toys?
Yeah, those are at Martian Toys. I think there is 2 or 3 of those left, so not very many.
Okay.
I also have a couple of the designer con pieces left.
Okay.
A custom show from we did at designer con.
Right.
This is Grace Lang. She killed this piece. It's great. She hasn't done a whole lot of designer toy stuff, but she's gonna be there. She's gonna do some more stuff.
Nice.
And then I have one of the calderas that I kept because I really like these a bunch. There, now you can see it. I was really fond of the eyes on this guy.
Oh, hey, that's nice. Yeah.
Little details. And the fur texture really came out well on this one.
Okay.
And then I have, can't hide it, I guess it's in the frame.
Yeah.
One of the prototypes for the New York Comic Con pieces that I did with My Plastic Heart. So this is the Greed colorway.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's still I'm missing a few of the one I did with Tenacious Toys. I don't have that one.
Right.
So I'm slowly learning to keep some of the things I make.
So in addition to Willow, you just introduced a new character, Bloom. Cute little guy. Can you show us him and also tell us a little bit about where he fits into the world? Yeah.
So this is Bloom.
Okay.
This is the little Bloom figure. They are sort of a companion piece to Willows. So they're meant to complement, be along with Willows. They fit side by side.
Right.
And their texture is reminiscent of the Willow fur. And within the canon of the world, it's because they live in the same areas and they sort of eat the same thing. They're not closely related, but they're related. They're like distant cousins.
Okay.
But they tend to huddle around the Willow herds. They tend to stay pretty near to them because the Blooms are they're quick. They can move fast, but they don't really have any other defenses or anything. So they like to stay with where the bigger Willows are and hide behind them if anything happens. And Willows have horns. Blooms just have cuteness.
Right. Okay.
But the Willows sort of allow them to hang out because the Blooms are better at finding food and they're much more active in trying to find it. So they'll run out and try to find new delicious stuff, and then the Willows will just sort of slowly follow them to the new stuff and then push them out of the way and get their fill.
Right. How convenient and clever of them.
You're right. It works out. I mean, I sort of imagine if you probably think most artists put some of themselves into their work. So I'm definitely the Willow in that situation.
Oh,
I'm like,
interesting.
Somebody go get me some food, and then I just take it from them.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, do you have an idea of other colorways we might see of Bloom besides sort of the debut pink one we just saw?
Like I said, there's they're companions to Willow, so there's a potential, that they could I could just match some of the other colorways of Willows that have come out. If people want that, or if I feel like doing that. A lot of times, the main motivation for how I do something is whether or not I'm going to get bored doing it.
Okay.
And I tend to get bored a whole bunch. It's like probably the main reason I have really small editions.
Right.
So, there's some of the colorways I think would be fun to do. I'd be interested, like the Greed colorway a whole lot. But new colorways sound fun too. So,
sure.
So we'll see. Yeah, definitely have some interesting stuff planned for New York Comic Con with some new colorways. Exclusive releases there. They may or may not glow in the dark.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. And I can't help but notice you have a little human guy next to the giant Willow.
Yeah, this is William, and he is the first human in the larger scale. In fact, he's the first human figure I've actually put out. And I figure that's really important to get scale out there, so you can kind of see where things stand. It sort of helps to build that world feel. Like there's a lot of things going on, so you get a better feel for the size.
Right.
If that's anything.
Okay.
So he is. This is just a sketch piece. It's like I'm not finished or not going to be molded like this or anything.
Okay.
But this just gives an idea of how I want to set him up and all that.
Right.
And he is one of the main 5 characters from the story. There's William, who this is the first time he's been shown, and there's Goku, and she is pretty more or less the main character. She's like the first introduced character, and she's that giant orange robot character that I've released in the smaller scale before.
Okay.
And then there's Lydia. She is a rocksmith, so she turns into a giant rock creature.
Okay.
And I have to there's some talks in the works actually for something really big with her, hopefully.
Oh.
And then there's Cedric and Michael, and they haven't been shown in toy form, but there is a painting and a trading card out of them. You can see.
Okay. That's right. You did trading cards. Do you still have those available?
Yeah, I do actually. We ordered a whole lot of them. Not a whole lot, but a lot for one person to produce. And so I recently just started to make them available as complete sets, rather than just individual packs. Because the main goal with those was, there is a whole story. There's a whole world within the Mudcat Chronicles other than just the toys. So I wanted to start putting some of that information out there.
Okay.
So I made series 1. There's 28 cards, and they are just interesting sort of tidbits and stuff on the back. And these are all based on the original series of paintings where everything came from. Back when I was still sort of keeping one foot in the art world,
right?
Or firmly in the fine art world, we'll say. But there's that's Michael. He's one of the other characters.
Oh, neat.
And as they transition from paintings to toys to, ultimately my end goal is I want to do an animation. I want to get enough interest and things going on out there for an animation. So the characters change slightly, over the time. But these are the original where they all came from.
Okay.
So that's a good set. They have just interesting stuff on the back.
Ooh,
they're fun. I designed them all too. I did everything to them as well.
Okay.
You get my computer skills in there.
Okay. So if we want to collect them all, do we have to just buy like line packs, or is there a way to get them all?
Nope. Yeah, I just put sets out on the website.
Nice.
So $10 for a whole set.
Very cool.
We're pretty excited about that. Because like I said, the main goal is just to get information in people's hands so they have a little bit more understanding of what things are and where they come from and where they're going, who knows who, where they're from, what language they
speak. That's a nice introduction to
it really is. Yeah.
Very cool. When can we expect to see William? I know you said that's an early version. Do you have an idea in your head, like when we might actually see him?
I don't know. It's maybe. I guess that's a good thing about resin is that since I hand cast and hand make everything, it really just sort of depends on like what kind of fire I have lit underneath me to put it out there. But I'd say probably realistically sometime in the next, probably before Christmas.
Okay.
This year, but probably not sooner. Than that, with some of the other, so I have some things I'm working on that I can't show off or anything.
Right.
So I have other things doing. I'm not just
exciting.
Other things going on that in the background that I have to do first.
Right. Speaking of things that are lurking in the shadows and coming out, and you're working on for the future, what do you have coming up for New York Comic Con?
Well, I'm in talks with a few people right now. I just started putting out feelers, but I can probably confirm that I'm doing a few, eight different exclusives with 8 different booths. So
wow.
I'm trying to be all over the block. I'm taking over. I'm doing the whole thing.
Okay.
Going but big. I definitely have some big plans for that. They're going to be Bloom figures in different colorways. So
Okay.
and they'll definitely be made with the idea that you could collect a whole set of them if you want, but you don't have to. So
Okay.
and I'm trying to do them fairly inexpensive to to have it be more fun.
Okay.
I like fun things that we can do and you know I think having event type things like almost scavenger hunts and stuff at conventions is pretty cool.
Okay.
One of them, I won't say who is going to have it, but one of them is going to be the hardest one to get, and it's not going to be at a booth. You're going to have to find somebody to get them.
Oh wow.
Somebody
Like
somebody
backpack
big
style.
maybe. Yeah, it goes back to my roots when I first started at Comic Con. I was selling things out of a box wandering around.
Okay.
So somebody's going to have those there.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, that was always right. The chasing things around is half the fun of all of this.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. So you also mentioned you had glow in the darks coming, right? Maybe something.
Yeah, those are gonna be the New York ones are gonna be the glow in the dark ones.
Sweet.
In I think I'm gonna stick with eight colors. We'll see. I maybe can do more. We'll see.
Okay.
But I think I'm gonna do eight colorways in small editions.
Wow.
But that's not. I can't confirm or deny that. That's
Right.
just that's my thought process.
Okay. One thing that I immediately think of when I think of you and your work, I mean, I think of Willow, obviously, because he's your signature character. But I also think of the fact that for about a year, you and your girlfriend have been going all over the United States in your cool, slick mini RV.
It's true. We have been doing that. We set out. We always sort of. I mean, it's always been a dream of mine is to just travel the states and travel around. And we set out on this specific adventure with actually the intent of going to all the designer toy stores that were out there.
Oh,
so
okay.
that sort of determined our route. But yeah, we hit all of them. I think we have a couple in Florida. We missed Florida in the South.
Okay.
We had to come back to New York for various reasons, but we're gonna try to go in the wintertime. We're gonna try to go down south and get some of the ones we missed and things like that.
Okay. So, how do you make toys? Because I know you've been making toys throughout this whole time that you've been on the road and not having like a studio, really. How do you do that?
Well, it depends on, there's days where I don't need to pressure cast things. There's days where, I can clean pieces and paint pieces. So the days that like I need electricity or I need to be in a static place and not scare people with a pressure pot and a gas mask and stuff. We'll get a campsite for the weekend and I'll just work for 46 hours or however long it takes to get all the pieces done that I need to get done. And then, I'll do most of the painting and stuff, during the nights or, after we're done for the day, traveling or doing anything. But definitely there's been times where I've been at like a Walmart parking lot with the generator running, spraying things down with an airbrush. And people are like, who is this? What is happening right now?
Do people ever come up to you and actually ask, or do they just give you funny looks?
Most of the time, if we're at like a campground or like a national park or anywhere, someone will come over and ask, and it's always an older couple, and it's always the lady of the older couple comes over, and you can tell that her husband sent her over. And more times than not, they have an idea of what's going on. They're like, "Are you making molds? Are you doing this?" They have a general idea of something. So,
okay.
I'm just filling the blanks, filling the details for them. But no one has thus far, thought I've like been making bombs or anything like that, or meth. I thought people were for the longest time were gonna be like, "Oh look at Walter White over here," but that hasn't happened.
Breaking Bad meets designer toys.
Yeah. Well, when I first set out to do the Tenacious Toys pieces, the blue glow in the dark willows, that do look surprisingly like the crystal meth from Breaking Bad. I was in the RV doing those. I was casting them up as at an open studios event here in Bushwick.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the resin that we have to use for those is like I was using a crystal clear, like a really clear resin that I had become sensitized to super easily.
Oh.
So I couldn't get it on my skin. I couldn't breathe it very much. So I was in a full on like like hazmat suit with like goggles on and the gas mask and everything,
Right.
standing outside the RV making this stuff. And that definitely freaked people out. Like I had to put a sign out that said like, "I'm making art. Ask me what I'm doing," to not freak people out. So I learned pretty quickly that we probably shouldn't do things like that on the like in cities or anything anymore. So now I keep it to campsites when we're a little bit more secluded. Far back of the Walmart. I'll pull out the table and cast some stuff up.
Okay, right. I think you definitely have the most like adventurous stories about making resin toys, right?
I mean, maybe I'm sure there's some people got into more hectic situations than I've gotten in. Yeah. It sounds crazy, but we keep it pretty low key because I think we definitely are starting higher up on the weirdness scale than a lot of people are with this stuff.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've been living the dream, both going from high art to designer toys and art that you really like to make to kind of doing a massive road trip. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly much more fulfilling. I mean, as far as, I guess that's first world problems. Like, I'm not fulfilled in my job, in my life, but like, I'm super lucky. Like, I know how rare it is to like actually like what you're doing and be able to get by doing it.
Absolutely.
Get by. I'm not eating steak every night, but
right.
I'm not. I'm eating, so that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, doing what you love is definitely a plus.
Yeah, it's it doesn't feel as it certainly work. There's times like I'm like everybody can attest to sitting and sanding things for 5-6 hours is no picnic. But I don't know. Neither is doing stuff for somebody that you don't really want to be doing in the first place. I think everything's just about perspective, and like I said, I'm super lucky that people buy my stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, we'll be looking forward, and I'm sure our collectors will be looking forward to the new blooms and maybe like as many as 8 colorways at New York Comic Con. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, I dream big, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Good to go big, definitely.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Kyle.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Absolutely.